Hi, welcome to this latest video in the series of videos in which we explore all 9 tiles and all 27 elements of the instruction manual. This is the second element of tile 1, observation. And if you haven't seen the summary or the first element, then check them out here. This is the second element of tile 1, observation. As I've said already in the previous videos, observation, awareness and reflection are all so interlinked. One affects the other two, and all you need to do is to focus on one and you affect the other two. But with observation, it's important to understand that there's nothing else to do but observe. You don't need to go into analysis. You don't need to understand what you're seeing. You don't need to have an explanation for it or any conclusions about it. All you're doing is observing. There's no attachment, there's no expectation, there's no analysis, as I said. Here's a couple of examples. First one, I was giving a workshop in which it was a company workshop and one person was late. They came in, I was in the process actually of talking about how important it is to challenge each other. And he came in and he apologized for being late and excused himself and said he was going to have to leave early. And I said to him, you don't need to apologize. You don't need to say anything. In fact, you've interrupted the conversation between me and the existing attendees. And he said, yeah, but I'm apologizing. That's okay. That's fine, isn't it? And everybody agreed with him. And I said, no, it's unnecessary. There's somebody else missing. Watch what happens when he arrives. So everybody had the chance to do exactly what I've just said, observe without any analysis, any expectation, any conclusions, just observe what happens. And what happened was the guy came in, sat down, said nothing, waited for a natural break in the conversation, apologized, told us he brought biscuits, and that was the end of it. Now, every single one of those people in the room who'd said it was okay for the first guy to apologize changed their minds. They saw the difference. They observed the first person, and we talked about it, so we made it more concrete. We highlighted somebody's behavior, and then we got the chance to observe somebody else's behavior. So it's kind of a controlled environment in that respect. But the clarity that everybody had in that one simple example was beautiful. And that's all we're doing when we're observing. We're observing ourselves in these situations. What did I do today? What did I do in that situation? And in working environments, for example, you have very familiar situations on a daily basis. The same things happen with the same people. Those aspects don't change. So what you can do, it's a perfect environment for you to be able to shift certain elements of your behavior and observe what happens. And the other example to highlight the beauty and the power and what you need to be doing when you're observing is, take for example that you're in an argument, you're in a heated argument with somebody else, then you're fully involved, your emotions are raging, and you're going down certain avenues with those emotions, you're saying things that you might regret later on, you're completely consumed by that argument. Now consider that you're to one side watching 2 other people have an argument. You're not invested in it, you don't care what the people are talking about, you're just observing what's happening. It's a very, very different experience. And if you, in your own observations about yourself, can recreate the difference that I'm talking about here, is not getting drawn into those emotions, but taking a step to one side and observing yourself in that way, then you'll start to see much more. Everything will become even more clear. And maybe that's a step down the line or a few steps down the line for you. But the first point for you is just to observe. And to improve your observations, you write stuff down. And again, this is where we have an example of how linked these elements are. Because when you commit to writing stuff down, you become more observant. If you know, think about the film, the cinema example that I gave in the awareness video. And if you haven't seen that video, nip there first and come back here and it'll make a lot more sense. But if you think about that cinema example and you apply it to your own life, if you know that you're going to be writing stuff down, you become more observant. You go to work that morning looking for stuff that you're going to write down. There'll be times in meetings, there'll be times in certain situations throughout the day where you'll think to yourself, that's what I'm going to write down. That's my insight for today. And it becomes exciting. It becomes a journey of discovery. And the subject is you. The data that's available on a daily basis is huge. You can do a research project on yourself every day for the next 2 weeks, and you will be more aware than you were when you started. You'll be more effective than you were when you started, and you'll perhaps also possibly even be more relaxed and more calm and more peaceful with yourself. If not after the first 2 weeks, then certainly after the first couple of years. So just to summarize, observation is so linked with reflection and awareness that as soon as you start observing more closely, you become more aware. And if you become more aware, you start paying more attention to stuff, so you observe more. They feed each other. Remember not to get too involved in the observation. Take a step back. You're not looking for answers here. The answers will come. The answers will leap at you from the page when you're writing, or when you start reading back over your reflection over a few weeks, you'll start to see the answers, the patterns leaping out at you from the page. So you don't have to look for the answers in your observations. You just have to observe and write stuff down. That's it. So if you've enjoyed the video, be sure to check out the other videos or get in touch. I'm available via Facebook, Twitter, all the usual channels. I'll put the details down in the description. Or you can get in touch via the site. Go to theinstructionmanual.nl and send me an email. Write your first journal entry. Drop me a line and I'll get back to you. Take care.